a Spire alongside as well, and was helping him cut down on Corsair count and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit different sort of situation, but just going mass Hydras against 2-base Protoss can be very lucrative. It can work out very well. And he really doesn't have a lot of choice since he's late on his tech. He's had to not get a ton of units early on to try and get this econ going. And now a lot of Dragoons in the mix, which is interesting. Maybe he's expecting a Muta switch. Or perhaps a Lurker. Perhaps Lurkers or something like that. So that's sort of a wise move for that, but if he just goes mass Hydra, those Dragoons are actually going to be a liability. They're actually not going to be as good against, as having Templar and Zealots instead. And it looks like he's got a lot of Hydras massing up here. He does have 4 High Templar there. They've got at least 1 Storm each, possibly a couple. So he's got 4 to 6 Storms here, and that is going to be more than enough to clean up mass Hydras, unless he just has way too many +1 weapons as well for those ground units for Jangbi. So it looks like Jangbi is in a really strong position, especially because now, because he doesn't have his defensive set up, FireFist cannot take that 4th base very easily. He does have Lurkers out now. He's going to spread them out a little bit. Though there is an Observer as well. So he's got Dragoons and Storm and Observers, and there's no Scourge out to try and pick off those Observers just yet. So he's going to move in. He's going to easily destroy, absolutely conquer those Lurkers there. Now he's going in with the Hydras and Lings at the same time. Storms go off, killing a lot of Hydras. He's having to back up. Somehow the Lings got in there. The Storms were not perfectly placed, and a lot of Lings get past those defenses, but it's just barely enough. Those last couple Storms coming in at just the perfect moment to clean up those Zerglings. He's barely trying to morph more Lurkers right now, trying to hold this off, but Jangbi has a small force still alive. He's still got a couple Templar as well. He may have a Storm or 2 left in him, and he's rallying Speed Zealots to that location as well. Those Lurkers are going to be able, but he doesn't have a ton of Lurkers yet. Nice Storm on those Lurkers, catching some Hydras as well. Another Storm. Actually, that one was kind of a whiff, but the 3rd Storm cleans up a lot of Hydras as well. He's having to burrow those Lurkers just on the location. The Dragoons are going to be able to easily clean up the Zealots, pushing the Hydras back while the Dragoons clean up the Lurkers. And now he's having to fall back against these Hydras. Looks like one of the Archons is going to go down. So some nice back and forth action here. Barely pumping out enough Hydralisks, and that was a good move, pumping out the Hydralisks to counter those Dragoons. The Templar just wasn't not quite enough Templar in the mix there to storm the rest of those Hydras. And now some Zerglings coming in. Are they going to be able to pick off the High Templar? He stops focusing the Templar and starts going after that Dragoon. Okay, that was just silly. He wasn't microing those Dragoons at all. And so the Dragoon micro was able to defeat those Zerglings. Anyway, still 6 hatcheries going on in here. He's not trying to take a 4th base. He's just going to try and basically, both players are almost just going all in, not trying to expand here. Actually, Jangbi may be expanding to the 3 o'clock position, is what it looks like. But both players just building off massive armies here and trying to counter each other's unit composition mixture. Unit composition, yeah, army unit mixture composition. Army composition mixture unit. Anyway, we got some Scourge in play now as well. He's going to try and pick off those Observers, I think, and then have some Lurkers in play. A little bit of a Zealot attack here. That was a good idea, trying to go in and pick off some stuff, but very, very hard countered by a massive Hydralisk going over there. And we see the advantage of having that 3rd base near his main now, because now he's able to defend that with his whole army very easily. He's able to reinforce it pretty quickly. But Jangbi's getting that 3rd base going. So very soon he's going to have a really good economy to deal with this. And massive attack going in here from both sides. Scourge are right there, but there's no Overlords to spot. Storm going off on a lot of Hydras. A lot of Lurkers in the mix as well. Are getting torn apart by those Dragoons and the Zealots, but there's just too many units. He's getting pushed back. Jangbi's getting pushed back towards his 3rd base now. The Templar goes down. I think it already spent his Storms though. There's another Storm coming from behind. Barely pulling out of that Storm in time. FireFist microing pretty well here, I have to admit. A little bit of miss micro going on, but clumping up his Lurkers, that kind of thing. But in general, doing very well. But he's not storming those Observers. If he's going to keep using Lurkers against Dragoons and Templar, he's going to have to at least storm the Observers in order to make that useful at all. Otherwise, he should probably go back to more Lings and Hydras There are some zealots, I guess, in the mix, so it's handy to have some lurkers around, just a few at least for those. But with mostly dragoons and Templar, you don't want to be making more lurkers unless you, like I said, unless you can at least storm the observers. I'm sorry, scourge the observers. Um, anyway, so both players just kind of posturing around here. He's moving in for another attack. Jangbi trying to try and push in here with his dragoons against this lurker contain. Oh no! Huge clump of lurkers gets stormed twice. All the lurkers go down in that clump. 2 storms for like 5 or 6 lurkers. And now he's able to hold off those hydras with more lurkers. Dodging the storm pretty well though. Here comes the Scourge. The Scourge are in the opposite location of this. The observers were too far ahead, and the Scourge actually went past them, and were not attacking there. So now the observers are still alive. Where is that Overlord? The storm going off. Oh, he Scourges one. I think he Scourged both the observers. The observers are no longer in play. He's having to fall back a little bit farther again, but there's not many Hydralisks left. Just the lurkers, but because there are no observers anymore, the lurkers are able to do some good against these units. They're going to be able to pick off that Archon, but until he gets another observer out. So FireFist slowly pushing him back. I don't know if he even knows about that third base. He has to know, right? He has to know that's there, right? But he doesn't seem to be aware of its existence. He's not really pushing over towards that direction or anything like that. There's a lot of cannons over there, so it's going to be hard for him to push up that direction. I'm really surprised FireFist hasn't taken like a 4th base or something. Just as I say that, there's a drone walking by, probably heading out somewhere to build that 4th base. And Jangbi is looking to take a 4th base as well, so pretty nice putting a lot of pressure on and getting those cannons up at that 3rd base to secure it. And now he's hoping that he can get a 4th base going before too long, and he was going to try and sneak it in. He doesn't really have a lot of units to pressure anymore. Both players macroing up very large armies though. FireFist really putting tons of units out. Well, actually I shouldn't say tons of units, but he's got a lot of lurkers. He was morphing a ton of them, so he's going for a huge, massive lurker container around this middle area here, which it's not really covering actually. It's not covering the entire exit there for Jangbi, so it's not being completely effective. I'm not sure why he put it there exactly. It's going to stop units from coming out of that 3rd base on the right, but it's not going to really keep Jangbi from moving out his units and getting more of a good position against those lurkers. But he is moving a larger army around the side, posturing here to try and cut off that 4th base from Jangbi at the 12 o'clock position. Where did that hatchery go? Maybe that drone was not going to make a new hatchery after all, because FireFist is still at 3 bases. He should take the middle. That would be awesome if he took the middle base there with the like double gas and the minerals. That would be a pretty good spot actually to take for FireFist. It's not actually the most defensible, but since it's got this big lurker contain, it would kind of be defended by that. And he's kind of risking everything on this lurker contain. Anyways, actually no. Now he's moving in. Oh, clumping up his lurkers. Lurker taking so much damage to these storms. All of them going down to concentrated storm and dragoon fire. But now he's got more Hydralisks coming in, and oh man, he was so invested here in that attack with all those lurkers, and he just ran them in a big group, did not separate them at all, and just burrowed them in single location, and all of them got destroyed, and all the Hydras getting wiped up as well. More Hydras coming in from behind though. He's desperately trying to hold this off now. Now it's going to be Jangbi's turn to counterattack. Jangbi has that 4th base up as well, plus 3 weapons it looks like on those attack units on the ground. GG coming from FireFist. His contain broken. Jangbi having a 4th base to his 3. FireFist was completely behind, and I think it all just came down. I mean, he was kind of all in anyway, but then it just came down to that last attack. He just made a big blunder with those lurkers after he'd been microing and playing so smart for most of the other games. Made a big blunder just clumping up those lurkers, getting them all killed, and that was pretty much all he had going for him there. So GG. Jangbi is going to move on to the final match, to phase 0 versus Jangbi, to see who is going to advance from this group along with Washin. Let's go do the final game. GG, thanks for watching.